Hi, everyone. I'm very thrilled to be here. And I love being a woman and I love sharing my heart. So I hope today to share my heart with you. And I've got lots of thoughts in my head. So I hope that I can organize them. And I also hope that you'll look past my flaws. I have a lot and listen for a deeper message. And then apply what you want to, but also recognize that, there we just all do things differently. And so this may or may not apply. But I have chosen to talk about the ripple effect. And when Carmel asked me to speak, my first thought was, what did I get myself into? Because I said yes. But the second thought is, what am I going to say? And these thoughts started to come to me. And I knew what it was that I was going to say. And the title of my talk, it sounds like a little tongue twister, so I'm going to read it. Is delighting in daily duties and rippling patterns of divine purpose and life balance within our homes and sphere of influence. And so that is really going to be my topic. And how do we do that? As I was preparing, I was led to Melinda Gates and a quote that she recently gave. And as I listened to the quote, it made me realize what a difference each of us can make. That one choice and we can make a difference. And I want to read that. It says, I see the difference that empowered women have all over the world. If they have their voice, if they can make a decision, if they are empowered even a little bit economically, they can lift up their families. And once they lift up their families, guess what? All of those families together lift up the community. And guess what? A community lifts up a nation. And I would add to what Melinda said, and a nation lifts up the world. And it all starts with one. It all starts with each of us and our choices. And as we do so, as we make the choice to lift up our families, we can lift up the world. And as I heard this, as I listened to Melinda Gates, it made me think of an audio I recently listened to, which is by Cokie Roberts, and it's Founding Mothers. And I really love this audio, and I fell in love with our founding mothers because of their choices and the difference that they made because of their simple choices. And a lot of their life was just simple daily duties. So the day in and day out, doing those simple things, and the impact they have had on their families and on our nation and the whole world. So I want to read this quote from Cokie Roberts. She's talking about the founding mothers, and she says, they did with great hardship, courage, pluck, prayerfulness, sadness, joy, energy, and humor what women do. They put one foot in front of the other in remarkable circumstances. They carried on. They are truly our founding mothers. And I really believe that these women are the backbone to our nation. And I want you guys to think right now of a time in your life when you carried on, when you didn't realize you were making a difference, but that you carried on and you put one foot in front of the other. And I just want you to think in your mind of that experience. Okay, I'm going to share an experience, and this is when my daughters were little. It's the time when I carried on and I didn't realize that I was rippling choices to my family. It was a time when my two little girls were young, and I worked at New Skin, and I quit to stay home to be a mother. And my husband was starting a business, and so we literally had no money at all. It was not there, and it was a time of great sacrifice. And I remember feeling overwhelmed many of the days. And one particular day, I was going to Walmart to get them shoes because it's amazing what you can buy at Walmart for $20, right? And so I was on the way there, and on the way there, I saw a garage sale. And what's better than Walmart? Well, it's a garage sale. So I went to the garage sale, and while there, I found a pair of shoes for 50 cents. And I was so happy because that was what I needed, and it was this cute pair of Disney shoes. And then so Josie had her shoes, and we went to Walmart to look for the other shoes for JC. And I found the shoes, and I'm sure I bought a few more groceries. And I was standing in line, and as I was standing in line, there was a man in front of me in the grocery line, and he was trying to find shoes. He was trying to buy shoes, and his debit card wasn't going through. And he kept trying and trying, and his debit card still wouldn't go through. And the cashier was, saying it's not going through. And he just kept trying and trying. And I remember thinking in my mind, I wish somebody would buy his shoes with me. And I was kind of looking around, and I had a really strong feeling, and this is what the feeling was: you are the one. And I thought, I'm the one, but I don't have money, but I could feel it so strongly. And so I just went over and I said, can I buy your shoes for you? And he was so happy. And I remember buying the shoes. It was after I bought them that I realized, wow, I did have the money because I had got those shoes at the garage sale. And it was just very impactful for me to realize that we can make a difference, even with little things. And walking out of there, I was on cloud9 because I was able to help him and be an influence for my daughters. So everything we do really makes a difference. And sometimes during the greatest sacrifice and trials, we really are rippling more than we even know because it's really, really hard. And we're putting one foot in front of the other. Okay, so how do we delight in these daily duties? It can get hard. And there's some days that we're not going to delight in the daily duties. And but I want to share with you some perspective that I think will help. And it's a personal story that I've experienced that helps me when I'm not delighting in my duties. But in 2005, after my Jenna was born, I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, and it was serious postpartum depression to the point that I needed to be hospitalized. And I remember, I'm not going to go real deep with this because I don't like to go back there, but I remember in the hospital feeling and knowing that this may be it, that I may not ever get to raise my children, and believing that I was dying. And I prayed and prayed for a miracle, and every day it was a struggle just to even get through. And I remember thinking, if only I could be home, and if I could be even changing a diaper, if I could be folding their cute little clothes, like what joy that would be. And so I share that with you because there's really not a day that goes by that I am not grateful for being a mother and the sacred role of being a woman and a mother. And I'm so grateful for that. And I hope that gives you some perspective. But I want to share right now some creative ways to delight in daily duties and some of the things that I've done over the years. I love this quote by Margaret Pay Hinckley. And she says, as you create a home, don't get distracted with a lot of the things that have no meaning for your family. Don't dwell on your failures, but think of your successes. Have joy in your home. Have joy in your children. Have joy in your husband, and be grateful for the journey. And I think that's important. It's important that we're focused on love and not whether things are perfect, but that we're doing things with love and we're doing things with joy. And one of my favorite quotes is from Florence Nightingale, and she says, they may slow us down a bit, but no one can stop us from showing compassion. And I love that because as families, we all have flaws. We have flaws, our kids have flaws, our husband have flaws, but we can show compassion for one another. And things are going to go wrong, and it's okay. As far as a family journey, stay away from perfectionism and focus on love, and that makes all the difference in our home. I want to talk about setting the environment in the home, and I think that's important. As I was thinking about this, I was thinking of the show Little Mermaid, and that part in Little Mermaid when Sebastian is trying to get Prince Eric to kiss Ariel, right? And he's setting the mood. So he wants something to happen, and so he's setting the mood. And I think that we have to do that in our families. We want something to happen, so we have to set the mood. So starting the morning, I love starting the morning with peaceful music, with a candle, opening the shutters, bringing some light in, and then having a fun, simple breakfast. I mean, I really make it simple. It's French toast or pancakes and a banana, something healthy to go with it. And then I'll put on gospel music, or I will play a gospel message. And they can count on that every day. And that's something that's important for me. And then also setting the mood, when it's time for chores, setting some real fun music, some rock music, really listening up and having some fun. We have no TV upstairs. It's just a place of conversation, and there's lots of books. So if the kids want to watch TV, they go downstairs. Or if we want to watch as a family, we can go down there and watch. And I really don't watch TV. I just don't have the time to watch it. And it's been a blessing not to have the TV. And if I need to watch TV, I got to get my kids to help me, because there's so many remotes and I don't know which one to use and which buttons to push. And so that's been a blessing for me, for my own personal environment, to have that freedom. Okay, allowing silliness during chores. And my kids love to be silly during chores. They think they, are trying to get out of it sometimes, right? But just allowing some silliness and not rushing through, but really just enjoying it, but getting it done and expecting a good job. One thing that helps me, that I love, is cloning myself. And what I mean by that is, what if we could have someone, and I think this is what Momni does too, it's really women helping each other, but cloning ourselves. And one thing that I do every Saturday is I have the groceries delivered. So groceries delivered, and it saves me money, because when I order, I can order the things on sale, and I can order in bulk. So when it comes, it saves me about 10 hours a month, and I can do this, and we have the groceries in bulk. This is really hard to speak without interaction. I'm sorry, guys. I'm having a really hard time with this, but I'm going to just do my best. I feel like I'm talking to, I see myself. I don't see you guys. So I'm going to try to look over. Hi, Drennan, how are you? So, okay, now I'm going to talk about, cloning yourself. So having your groceries delivered, it saves me money in the end. Okay, good. Now I have some people. I like seeing these faces. It makes it way easier. Okay. Hi, guys. Yay, Maria. Okay, this is what I needed. Thanks, you guys. I need this interaction. Okay. So having your groceries delivered is awesome. And you can do that, and doing like a monthly Costco run. So that is really important for me to do that. And it's awesome because it saves me money in the end. And the only thing about that is, you buy in bulk, and recently I bought, 6 ice creams, and I didn't buy them so everyone would eat them, right? Well, that's what happened, and they were gone in a week. So you might have to hide some stuff if you do that, if you order. Okay, have your older children tutoring your younger children. So if one of your children is struggling, hire your older children to tutor them. Phoning yourself. This one is fun, letting your husband cook. So I know that's hard for some of us to let our husband cook, but my husband loves to cook, and he grew up in a family of 12, and his mom's a really good cook, so he's pretty darn good. However, if he's cooking, I stay out of the kitchen, and I send one of the kids, because whoever goes in the kitchen is going to become the gopher. Like the gopher, because he doesn't know where all the utensils are, right? And so he's going to send them, to try to find the stuff. And so I do my best to stay out of there. But his food is really worth it. If I get stuck in there, it's worth it, because he is a really good cook. Okay, hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. So talk to a friend while you clean. And the other day I talked to my friend Heather for an hour while I was cleaning, and we were able to do therapy together. Do a power cleaning. So by that, count your power cleaning as a workout. So you're doing laundry, running up and down the stairs. I have a neighbor who I've helped her. I need to see someone's face. That helps me a ton. Hi, you're back. Okay, good. If anyone else wants to show their face, this is helping me a lot. Yay! Okay, thank you. Okay, so you know, finding ways to hit two birds with one stone. And I have a neighbor who was going through a hard time, and so I was helping her mow her lawn. And I would bring my lawnmower over, and she would bring hers, and I would use hers because mine was on auto. Hers was really hard to push, and that was counting as my workout. So hitting two birds with one stone. Find ways to do that. Okay. Okay, listen to Audible while you're cleaning. So it's kind of like you're going to school while you're cleaning. And I love that. There's always something to learn. Simplifying things. And when I was little, I always wondered why Carolyn on Little House on the Prairie wore her hair up every day. But now as a mom, I realize that. Like it's the 2-minute hairstyle. I mean, you just stick it up and you go and you're done. In fact, today I did my hair. I haven't done my hair in so long and it feels really odd. This is the 20-minute hairstyle. But normally I have a 2-minute hairstyle and I just put it up and go. And that makes things a lot easier. Okay, I think as moms, having balance, sometimes letting the house get messy and really messy, and it's okay. And there's times that it's important to do that. I know that one of those times for us is Halloween. Our house turns into a war zone, and but we have fun, and that's what's important. Okay, creating family routines. Sunday dinner, making a special touch. Family history. One thing that we love to do is Sunday dinner is talk about an ancestor. So telling stories about an ancestor and learning about them and helping the kids to really learn about their own identity as we learn about these together. Okay, other routines. For our kids, we love to have Friday as their friend day. So not every day is with friends. But Friday, they get to a friend day. Then one thing me and my husband have done over the years, past 23 years, is we have done date night. And that's very, very important to us and to our relationship. And the kids know when we're gone that they're on their own and they're in charge or they're at friend's house. And, we're going to let them take care of themselves and we're going to go spend some time together. I think it's important with our daily duties to recognize that things are going to go wrong, that they're always not going to go right, and that's okay. And we have a story that we laugh at as a family. A few months ago, my husband was bringing in the milk and he tripped, and 2 gallons of milk went into our carpet. And it wasn't just a little bit, it was a lot. And still to this day, when we have our carpets cleaned, it brings up that smell. And so we just laugh about it, but things are going to go wrong, and you just have to recognize that that's going to happen, and write it down as a story that you'll always remember. Okay, I'm going to go on to talking about life balance, but I would love to hear some questions. I would love a little more interaction. If you guys have any questions about daily duties at all, I would love to get some questions. Oh.
Ask the question, you can unmute yourself or raise your hand.
Okay, hi, Jen.
And your comment said a story that you'll always remember.
Yes. Hi, Jennilyn. How are you?
Great.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Oh,
Okay, so now that I have some more faces, oh, this is new for me, guys. I'm not used to Zoom. But I love sharing, so I'm going to keep sharing. I want to talk about life balance. What do we do if we get what happens if we get off balance with our life? And that's happened to me many times in my life. And there's some things that I know can help. And it's kind of like riding a bike. You know, we're going to fall, and then we get back up. And I have had a plan that's been working for a long time, and I want to share that with you. Okay, before I do that, I want to share a quote, and it says, it's by Mother Teresa, and it says, start by doing what's necessary, then what's possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. And actually, that's from St. Francis. But I still love that quote because it starts with doing what's necessary. And if we jump to the possible, we're going to be missing those things that are most important. And so starting with what is necessary, and for me, one thing that helps me is my guide. And this guide is called what I call my divine purpose will, and it's right here. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. This helps me keep my life on balance. Now, if it's not on this wheel, if it's over here, I know that it's usually a no. I say no a lot because I'm going to stick with what's in my divine purpose. And I recently read a book called by Greg McEwen called Essentialism. And that's really what this is about, is doing what is essential and then watching and seeing grow and blossom. And so I created this very, very prayerfully. I did this a few years ago, and I know this is very, very important for me to be very connected to God, and He's the center of my will. So if I get off center, if God is not in my center, I know that life balance, I'm going to fall. And when mom falls, the whole family falls. And so that balance is very, very important to me. Putting Him first. And then my spiritual and physical and mental well-being that I've got in there are daily things. And so the exercise, the eating healthy, the morning prayer, and the scripture study. And one thing that I do with scripture study is I want my kids to recognize and always remember that mom loved her scriptures. And so what I'll do is I have this chair, and every night I make it a delight. And so I'll get chocolate, and I'll get my cozy blanket, and they get to see mom loves her scriptures. And so when they're older, they will always remember that. And I want to pass and ripple that onto them. And I always say, hey, did you read your personal scriptures? And sometimes when I'm sitting there in that chair, they will come, and this is after our family scriptures, they'll come sit by me, and they'll really open up to me during that time because mom's sitting still, and they want to talk. So that's just very, very one way that I'm able to keep my relationship with God very, very close, but also ripple that to my children. Hey, meditation is very important to me, and yoga. Those things are very important. We can't really help anyone in our family until we're cared for ourselves. There's a quote, and this one is by Mother Teresa, and it is, never worry about the numbers. Help one person at a time, and always start with the person closest to you. And I know the person closest to me is my husband. And so he's a big part of my divine duty, purpose will. And the things that are most important on there are serving one another. We give each other a lot of service. And there was a time in our marriage that our marriage was under fire. And a lot of people didn't think we were going to make it through. And we did, through our Savior, Jesus Christ. And I always say the husband and the wife and God And that is what we do. That's how we hold it together every day. Like he is our grace and mercy and getting together. And that means a lot of service. That means that, I serve him in ways and he serves me. He does a lot of the cooking. I give him lots of back massages and he loves intimacy. I give him a lot of intimacy, but that's important for him. And he would walk the into the earth for me and he'd do things for me. So that is very important in my divine purpose will. And it's important for our family because if we're not one, then our family can't be one. So we have to be one if our family's going to make it be together and be strong. So who is the person that's closest to you and what can you do? I want you to think about this and I want you to write it down. The person that's closest to you and what can you do for them that's a daily duty or weekly so that they know that you love them and that you are, that they are important to you. So I'm going to just let you write that down for a minute. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next priority, which is my children. So they are a big part of my divine purpose will, and making sure that they are developing and progressing. And I have each of them on there, things that I do for each of them. And I want to start with so just simple things, loving them in the way that they want to be loved. And I think of one child and she loves chocolate and she loves notes. And so I add that onto my list of, weekly duties. And I have another child who loves back massages. And so I'm aware of that and I make an effort to put that into a weekly thing to do. Another child who loves for me to take care of her dog and help with her dog. And so I do that and help with her dog and she can feel that. And then I have another child who loves adventure and loves making a mess. And so we get messy and we create things together. And I know that that is part of her little life mission to be creative. And so finding ways for each child, and I want you to just write down maybe each child and something that you could do where you are showing them that you love them. And it's either on a weekly or a daily basis. Okay, all right, real quickly, helping your children to find balance with their life. Hi, helping them find balance. And so I just want to share real quickly, your children have certain gifts and talents and helping them to channel those in the right ways. And I have the daughter, one who likes to be creative and make a mess. Well, she's our little Anna Green Gables. And so helping her to be her free spirit, but also at the same time balancing that out with discipline and reminding her of all the things that I need her to do. And I was the same way when I was little. I was a little bit of the same, so I understand her. And just to get an idea of what she's like, the other day she said, "Mom, guess what?" And I said, "What?" And she said, "My friends dared me to, so I ate a cricket." And I said, and I'm thinking, well, did you not even put chocolate on it? Because my spirit's like her. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this child. And so that's just her spirit. I have a son who, he loves order. He loves precision. He's a skier. And, if we go skiing, he's like, "Mom," and he tells me exactly what I'm doing wrong. He just loves that. But I purposely, when I'm making him a sandwich, I purposely make it a little bit off because he likes things precise. And I don't want him to be a perfectionist. I know someday he's going to be like, an architect or something. And so channeling that, but also giving him balance. And then he is always like, we call him the pants patrol because he really cares what our pants look like, and he'll let us know if he doesn't like our pants. And so I'm always like, "These are mom pants. I'm a mom. I can wear mom pants." And he doesn't want to hurt my feelings. And he's like, "Mom, your pants are really interesting." And I'll be like, "These are mom pants." And I think bell bottoms are coming back in style, and so he is like devastated with that. You know, he doesn't like that idea. And so, anyway, each child's different. You just have to work with them. And real quick, Josie, my other one, she's a pioneer. Like, she doesn't stop. She does, you know, graveyards, and then she does graveyard shifts, and then she also works as a preschool teacher in the morning. And she's going to BYU Idaho soon, but she doesn't do self-care, and I'm trying to help her balance that. And so the other day, I said, Josie, my friend Sharon's going to come over and give you an hour-long back massage, and because she needed it, and she was so happy. But she needs to learn that self-care. And I also plug myself in after her, because no one's going to say, Mom, you need a back massage. So we have to self-care. We have to take care of ourselves. And then my oldest, JC, well, she's 20 and she's traveled the world. She's seen more places than I have, for real. And, you know, I try to balance her by, you know, keeping her home somehow, to, you know, getting her to stay home at the nest. And so I'm really creative to do that. And someday I said, you know, you really should come home, because we're going to, I'm going to make awesome salmon, and we're also going to play Settlers of Catan. So she's coming. But she says, Mom, you really need to get out. You live in a bubble, which is true. Mm-hmm. I do live in a bubble. I call it the Utah County bubble. But I need to get out more. And so she said, she's agreed. She's going to, she's helping us plan a vacation to Hawaii. And so that's what we're going to do. So Mom can get out and have fun. But isn't it funny how our kids are creative for us as well? And they're created with all these unique talents and gifts that we can balance them out, but they can also balance us. And so there's no coincidences that we've been given our special spirits in our home, that they are there because there's a unique and eternal purpose for us with them. And you know, now I'm on a roll. I don't want to stop, and my time's up. So I have to hurry. But I want to say on this divine role, one of them is family service. It is important for us to do to serve as a family, and so we do our Soaring with Hope and Sister Angel, and that's important. And the kids love it. It's so fun. Also, what's important, very important, is on my divine purpose is being a good Samaritan. And so I will be the mom that stops and helps the widow, you know, the one walking in the rain with the walker. I will stop and pick her up. You know, that's important to me. Or the woman who's at church and homeless, I will become her friend. And so those things are important for me to ripple those behaviors to my children. And I'm grateful to do so. I want to say a few more things. I know my time's up. And so, okay. Okay, I have a few more minutes. And so, you know, balancing, you're going to, on your divine purpose, will find areas where you struggle. And because you want to protect this. You really want to protect this, because if you don't protect this, you're going to get off balance and your whole family's going to be off. And so this divine purpose rule, I don't know if you can see it, but be very, very prayerful about creating it. And maybe yours is very different than mine. Everyone's is going to be different. But the other opportunities that come your way, really evaluate and say, is this taking me away from my family? Is this taking me away from my divine purpose? And then really make a conscious effort. Should I do it? So within that, making those choices to say no. And I say no a lot more usually than I say yes. But then always being available when you get a prompting, you know, follow it, move forward with it. And so that is, okay, that's what I wanted to share on this. I want to talk about one more thing. And that is that heaven is aware, heaven and angels are aware of how hard you're working, and of all the ripples you're making with your family. And so when you feel like, wow, I don't even know if I'm making a difference, just remember that you are making a difference. And all of these things matter, especially the things that take a lot of sacrifice and the things that are hard. Like your children, although they may not be grateful now, they will when they're older. And they will always be grateful for the journey of loving and serving them. I want to end with an experience that I had in my art class a few years ago. So in this art class, we were to sculpt something out of a rock with a hammer and chisel. And I had this rock, and as I started sculpting it, a song came into my mind, and this song was The Circle of a Woman's Reach. And I knew this song was coming from my mother, who passed away when I was 6. And I hadn't heard that song for a long time. And the words came into my mind, and I knew that the words were coming from her. And I just want to read that, and I sculpted a ripple in a ripple, so a circle in a circle. And this, usually with art, I do it for other people, but this was a little gift for me. And I share this gift with all of you for the sacred role of being a woman and a mother and the things that you are rippling to your children. I just want to read the words. The circle of a woman's reach. The circle of a woman's reach will far at last outlast the time. A woman is so many things. She is sensitive and wise. And who knows what this world could be if seen through woman's eyes. She teaches hope. She teaches faith. She teaches charity in service to her fellow man and to her family. So I just want to close with that message that you are making a difference and never forget it. So we can have any questions.